whatever code we are writing, right, that code is not reusable, and that code is also not organized. So we want to organize that code. Now we know the basic concept, right? How to use a variable, how to use for loop, while loop, how to use list, a tuple, right, dictionary, all these things we have seen. But now whatever code we were writing in for loop, for example reversing a string, right, when we were reversing a string, we were writing a code using for loop and doing all the things, right? Yeah. Or yesterday when we were trying to implement this, do while loop using this approach, right? So now you can see this code is not organized. Organized means I can't reuse this code. Every time when I need to use this operation, I need to rewrite the code. I need to rewrite the code, right? I need to rewrite the code. So this rewrite we want to avoid. Any program that we implemented till now, right? Any program, right? This program, right? Or this. Whenever we want to use it, we have to rewrite it. Now we don't want to rewrite it. For example, yesterday we have used one function, right? We have used one function is alpha, right? Is alpha, or we have used append function in list. We have used len function in list. We have used sorted, right? These function we have already used this. These are built-in function already built in by Python library. Those are available. So these function we are reusing every time. Sort function we can reuse multiple times. But our code, whatever you have written till now using while, for loop, this kind of code, you can't rewrite it. So for rewriting, you can't reuse it. For reusing this, you need to write in the form of functions. So you need to write your code into function and then you can reuse it easily. Okay, so functions are means by which we can package up the thing and parameterize the functionality. Parameterize means we will just pass our parameter by, for example, we want to create a function of addition, add two number. Initially you will give them two numbers, then you can give them two different number, right? Okay, so every time you can change the arguments, change the parameters, and as per that you can see the functionality, right? So a function is a block of organized reusable code. Reusable. The example I have shown you: sorted, is alpha, built-in, right? Append, extend, all the function that we have seen. String function we have seen, it starts with, right? Okay, and what else we have seen in string? Is alpha. So these functions you are reusing them. So these are basically helpful when you do modularity. You want to create modules of your code, because when your code size will increase, you want to make it into a modular form so that you can easily manage, right? Suppose you are developing a very big application which has 20 functionalities. So those functionalities maybe have hundreds of functions, and it has approx 4,000 line of code, right? So we need to organize it properly. So function will help us in organization at certain level. After that, for organizing, we can also use module, we can also use packages, we can also use libraries, right? Okay, so these we will see in upcoming session, how to create module, how to create packages. Right now at simple level, at easiest level, we will use a functions, right? There is one more name of function which is known as methods. So methods and function both are overlapping in nature, but methods generally used for OOPS, in OOPS concept. OOPS means object oriented programming, right? Right now we call it function. Okay, OOPS you will see in upcoming session, but right now you just remember it as functions. Let's take one example. Function start with a keyword def, right? Function start with a keyword def, just like for loop start with for, while start with while, if else start with your if and else, if elif else, these are keywords. Similarly, function start with def, and then you can write a function name. For example, I want to calculate the area of triangle, and I'm using Heron formula, right? If you studied in your school, right, in which we try to find s a plus b plus c divided by 2, and then we find its square root, s minus a multiply s minus b and s minus c. We try to use this formula in our high school level, right? So what we want to do is we want to create a function of this. So def is a keyword by which our interpreter will understand this is a function. Heron is a name of function. Then we are using parenthesis and passing some parameters. So parameters are a, b, c, right? Because a, b, c are side of the triangle, right? A length, b length, c length, right? And then you are calculating s as per this formula. Then you are calculating this, and then again you are using one more function, sqrt, square root. So in math module there is a function sqrt which will give you a square root of any number. If you don't want to use this, then you can use power by 0.5. You can also use this, right? And this is called definition of function. Definition, right? You are defining a function, right? So this is your definition of function, and this is your calling a function. When you call the function Heron, you will pass the actual argument. These are called arguments, and it is called parameters. So you are passing the argument 4, 5, 6, and then you will get the area. So function is a modular approach, or you can say is a way to organize your code in reusable format. Organized reusable code, or it package up the whole logic. Or generally function is based on single functionality or single operation. You can single operation or single functionality. It don't have multiple functionality. For example, you can see sorted. It starts with extend, append, length. This is doing a single operation, or it is a single functionality, right? So this is how we create the function, right? Now here this is called definition of function, right? You are defining a function, right? You have defined here. Now these are called parameters. A comma b are parameter. When you call add numbers, this is the name of function, and then you pass these keywords. Sorry, not keywords. Then you pass these values. These values are known as arguments, and output will be your result, which will be returned by this. Now function uses one return keyword, right? That I have not explained yet, right? This return keyword is important. Why? This return keyword, this is optional, right? This is not compulsory. You are going to this return is optional. Return is returning a value. Whenever you want to return a value, then you will use return. If you don't want to return a value, no problem. Return is optional, but return keyword is returning a value. Here you can see a plus b. It is returning the sum of both numbers, and this will store in result, and you can print the result, right? Just like when you are applying function length and you are passing a list 1, 2, 3, its length is 3. So this function is returning you a length, right? And length is equals to, in this case, which is 3, right? So you are called, this is your function name, and these are parentheses, and these are your arguments. And here we have single argument, and this single argument is list, right? And here we have two arguments. You are separating arguments with comma. You can pass multiple arguments, right? It depends on your application, your operation that you are trying to do, right? There are various types of functions like global function, local function, lambda function, and methods. Methods and other functions are same. So methods we will use in OOPS when we will learn object-oriented programming, when we will try to create class, when we will try to create subclass, right? And at time we will use abstract class. In those we will try to use these methods. Right now we need to learn these three: global, local, and lambda function. Lambda function I think we have tried, I think one or two times maybe. If not, then lambda function is a single line function, and this is a most important function. Why? When you do data engineering operation, and or when you go for PySpark, in PySpark you can't move without lambda. So as a data engineer also, this lambda function is important, right? So these things we will see, but before that let's create one function first, try to run that and see. Right, so let me go to code. Okay, lambda function, I will repeat, I have not started yet. If you see, I have 3 slides here. Sorry, I pasted this here wrong. Okay, here, right? So we will see lambda function in detail, don't worry, it will be there. We have a whole session on this, right? Okay, so first of all, let me open yesterday's code, right? Yesterday we were trying to do some, yesterday or maybe day before yesterday, we were trying to do a reverse string, right? That code I will use, right? That code I will use, so that I will show you something. Okay, yeah, let's use this prime number, right? Check prime number. This code we did yesterday, right? So I'm just copying this code, right? So this code of let me put here hash prime number, right? Okay, now I want to create a function for this, right? Here if you see, I am calling this function every time and I am giving a number input, right? So I need to give input a number. So in that case I want to check prime. So what I will do is I will write def. We know how to write this code, right? Now I'm converting this into function. Just observe def and function name. Function name should be understandable. So I'm writing this as is prime or check prime, right? Check prime, right? Check prime number, right? It should be understandable with the name. Now I will pass input num, right? I will pass input num, and I am keeping this outside, right? So that I will take input, and I am giving a tab here, right? You can see shift tab. Now I am pressing a tab, so it will shift my code a tab. A tab means indentation. So it will, now you can see this whole syntax are inside this function. Okay, whole syntax is inside this function. You can also keep this outside, or you can also keep this inside. Let me keep this inside, right? Okay, let me, and after this this I will put this. If I am putting this inside, then I don't need to pass any argument. Right now I am not passing any argument. I have just created a function. Whole code I have assigned into this, right? Now this is your function definition. I have defined the function, right? Let me run this. Is there any error? Check first. It will take a time. It will take a minute. Meanwhile, I will try to call this function. How we call this function? Check prime number. This is function name, and here you can see we have no argument. If we don't have argument, then I will not pass any argument. If we don't have any parameter, then we will not pass. So this is your definition of function, and here this is your calling function, right? If I call this, it is asking for enter a number because of this statement. Then suppose I passed 35, right? So it is printing also. You can see 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally it is saying it is divisible by 5 and not a prime number, right? Just like if you see yesterday we were getting the output. So now whole code inside this. Now let me change this now, right? I'm again using this whole code, just copying this and putting here. Now I will keep this num number here and I will give argument as num, right? Okay, instead of doing this thing also, I can also return a value. Instead of using print, let me remove all the print. Instead of print, what I will do here, return prime number, or if else return. Now I am returning a string, right? Returning a string. Okay, now I will ask user for input and I will just call this function with argument num. Initially I don't have any parameter, so I don't have any argument. Now I have one argument, I have one parameter, then I will put one argument. Let me run this now. First I will run this, it will define. Now function is defined. Now I will run this. It will ask the number, suppose number is 47. You can see prime number. Now it is returning a string. If you want, you can take this string into a variable result and then you can print the result. Print the result. Suppose number is 41. 41 is a prime number. Right. Now, what is advantage? Right now, I have used this function for a single value. Now, let me try it for multiple values. Right. Okay. 34. Okay. You can see this 23 is prime number. This is not. Now, I am reusing this code. This code is written once. Now, I will reuse this multiple times. That is what advantage of function, reusability of code, right? Suppose I want to calculate for I want to calculate prime number between 1 to 100, right? Or between 2 to 100, right? Now what I will do is I will just call this function. I will call this function 100 times, right? Okay, and then okay, I will get some result here. Okay, so result here, result, then I will print output, print I comma result, right? Now run this. 43 is a prime number, 44 not, 45 not, 46 not. You can see 47 is a prime number. Okay, why it is starting from 43? Why it is not giving 11? Yeah, 11 is also there. 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number, not a prime number 5 is a prime number. You can see all go till 100 is not a prime number. Okay, 97 is a prime number. So every time it is calling this function. So this function is reused 100 times, right? And you have written a script here. So this is called reusability. That is why we create functions. So functions play an important role from the point of view of reusability. That is why we use this concept of functions. Now your code is modularized or packaged up into a single snippet, and this code is for a single functionality. Now suppose you have multiple functionality, then you can create a module. Module means .py file. We will see in upcoming sessions, but yeah. So this is your simple function that you create. Let me try to create one more simple function, right? Okay, so I written here. Move this down. Okay, let me create this function that we were seeing here, right? Here Heron formula, right? Let me create this function now. So def Heron, right? Okay, def Heron ABC, right? Def Heron ABC. Okay, A comma B comma C. 3 input will be there. Then I need to calculate S A plus B plus C divided by 2. Divided by 2. Now I will do return. If you want, you can do return. Otherwise, you can write one more line and calculate the area. Area, how you will calculate the area? S into S minus A, right? Into S minus B s minus c, right? So this is, you can also use math module. I am using star 0.5. Let's see what output is coming, right? Return area, right? It will return the area. Now if I will call not dev heron, heron, and then I will type 5 comma 4 comma 6, anything I can type, and I will get the area, right? So this is a function, and return keyword are returning a value. This value can be anything. It can be a list, it can be a tuple, it can be a string. Here we are returning a string, right? Here I am returning a float, here I am returning a float, right? So you can use this function multiple times, right? Suppose this is 14, 15 and 16. Every time you can use this function. So this is reusability. Now if you have seen lots of code, right, there they try to write this triple quotes, right? In that they try to write what will be input, right? If you have seen, so this is the comment, right? Purpose of the code and output of the code, right? Output is float, and the float is area of triangle, right? Purpose is to calculate the area of triangle, input is triangle sides, three triangle sides, right? So this is a comment that you can put. So generally is a good practice to use this when you have very big project, because it is giving idea what this function is doing. Right now this function is very simple. When you will see function of 100 line, 200 line, then this approach will be helpful. So it will give you input, what input it is taking, what is its purpose, and what output it is giving. So these kind of thing people uses, but it is not necessary you should use. This is comment in triple quotes. This is basically a description of the function, right? Okay, so that is what we created a function. Now let's see what is global function. Every function we have created till now or so far has been a global function, right? Now global objects are accessible to any code in the same module. Same module means same .py file. Module means .py file. Right now we are not creating .py file. We have created Jupyter notebook, IPython notebook, right? So if you create a function and define here, you can use anywhere in this notebook, or in this notebook, and here you can use with .py file. You can use this with any of the you can use within this module, right? At any of line, right? So in which the object is created. Now global objects can also be accessed from other modules. You can also access function from other modules. For example, you can create your module and access that function. That I will show you in upcoming session, right? But right now what you can try is, here when I was doing this, instead of this I can also do this, right? Let me remove this and I will use another function, math.sqrt. Now let me run this. Error, math is not defined. So I need to import the math. How I will do this? There's a keyword import, and then I will do math. Math is a module which is .py file. It has all the mathematical functions. So I imported this. Now I am running this. So now your sqrt function is not in this IPython notebook or Colab notebook, you can say IPynb in this, but we are importing it from different module, right? So you can import functions from different modules also, different .py file also, that we will see when we will see the modules. But what I'm trying to say is, functions can be used in another module or another file, Python file. We can use via import. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, so right now I have not started teaching you from keyword or modules, right? So if you want, you can, instead of this, you can also write like this, right? From math import sqrt. Now in this case, you don't need to write math.sqrt. You need to write only sqrt. It will also run. No, it is generic feature. This is generic feature. Yeah, this is not that. It is generic feature. So when we will see modules, then I will show you all these things, right? So right now, for simplicity purpose, you should use this, that we are using this function which is already created inside math module, right? So this whole approach of function, module, packages will help you to organize the code, right? The project I was working in my last company, which has 40,000 line of code. So how you will manage 40,000 line of code, right? You will have different module. Each module will have different functions, different functionality, right? So that's how project will be made, right? So that is the importance of this, right? So right now you are doing only small functions. When you will be a real project, you will see, oh my god, 40,000 line of code, 1 lakh 1,000 line of code, right? 1 lakh lines code, 1,000 lines of code. So at that time you need these module, packages, functions to organize things, because maybe you are using this function 100 times or 50 times. So that is why you have a functionality written and you just use it. That is what the approach is of function. Now Python function can be global and can be local. Two types are only there. This type is a different approach that I will explain you. So global function, every function that till now we have created, it is a global function. Local function are generally defined inside other function. Those function defined inside other function. For example, let me create one function here. Let me give here one heading local function, right? Now you can also put here hash, which will make it heading, right? Okay, code. Suppose I have created a function def. Okay, in this function, same function I am copying here, right? For calculating this, right, I am creating another function, right? Okay, so def calculate s, right, and argument are a comma b comma c, right, colon. Now I am creating function inside function. Now instead of this I will do return, right, and then I will call this function here. S is equals to calculate s. Now you can see I created a function which is calculate s, which is inside heron function, right? Let me run this. It is successfully executed. Now let me execute this code. You are getting the same output. Now let me try to access this. Now I will use calculate, right? Calculate s. Okay, 5,4,6. Fail. Calculate s is not defined. Why? Because it is inside this global function. It is inside this function. It will be accessible only inside this. You can't access outside this. If I will do same operation inside this, it will work, right? Print. Okay, 7.5. It is inside this. It is working. But when I will try to access outside of it, it will give error. Why? Name calculate s is not defined. It means what it means? It means that this function is not defined, because this function is a local function defined inside a function. Only this function can use this, not other function. So local functions are functions that are defined inside other functions. These functions are visible only to the function where they defined. visible only to the function where they defined, right? Okay, these are also called nested function. Just like loop inside loop, we can have function inside function. They are especially useful for creating small helper function that have no use elsewhere. Sometimes you use this, suppose this function you have to use multiple times, then you can create this function inside this, in which case when you don't have reusability somewhere else, you can use only inside this. So in certain cases we use this functionality, right? So this is called a local function. Let me write here, hash local function, right? And this is here hash global function, not here, I am writing here hash global function.